Hey there, my name is Jack, and welcome to the first episode of my football reviews on the Muzzer Football channel. And yeah, first up is Wolves versus Leeds. Wolves winning 1-0, obviously, with the Elon Melier own goal. Nothing you could do about that. I thought overall the game, they had a similar amount of possessions, similar amount of shots. The two goalkeepers stood out very well from what I saw in the highlights. I didn't watch the game. I think I took a nap. But yeah, obviously, like two decent level teams mid-table. They'll probably both finish around the 12th, 13th spot, in my opinion, come the end of the season. So to see it end 1-0 in a tight game is. Well, I'm surprised it's 1-0. Leeds are a team that seem to have a lot of goals in their games, but it doesn't surprise me it's split by one goal at all because they're two very good teams. Next on to Chelsea Southampton. I was very bored by that game, to be very honest. But um, yeah, I found the game very boring because Chelsea dominated, passed around all the time. But great result for Southampton, who'd been in a rut. 1-1 draw, obviously, Takumi Minamino getting them the goal on the break. Chelsea needing a penalty to get through after a silly tackle from Danny Ings. But yeah, fantastic result for Southampton. Chelsea need. I think they will do well under Tuchel overall, but they need to get some sort of firing in before the end of the season if they got a chance of getting into the top four over West Ham, or even Everton, potentially if Liverpool get back on a run. Yeah, Chelsea are going to need to get a bit more of a killer instinct because if they play like this, they will not score enough goals to get into the top four. Next up is Burnley West Brom, which was it was a dire game. You might as well have had Eric on the pitch because it really was dire. Semi Ajayi getting sent off, obviously. Burnley having more possession but not creating at all. Whereas you got West Brom who they created chances and didn't take them. A 0-0 draw is a bad result for both teams, I think, because Burnley, it would have got them out of the relegation mess. Whereas West Brom, they needed these 3 points to really elevate them, to give them any sort of chance of getting out of this relegation fight. But yeah, and it's ended 0-0. Burnley are still down there in the battle, which I do think they will get out. Obviously, West Brom I think are dead and buried. They need if they win games like this. This is how you stay up. Winning these games where you've got the fine margins, but instead they've come out with a 1 point instead of the three, which will really hinder them. Next up, the Merseyside derby, where my team Liverpool have finally lost at Anfield to Everton after 22 years, the second time in my lifetime. It was atrocious performance from Liverpool. I thought all it was the exact same of having a lot of the ball, no penetration at all, no penetration. I thought Everton were great defensively. Carlo Ancelotti set up very well, but I mean, they had the exact same number of shots on target, despite the fact that we had 71% possession in the whole game, which is not good enough. There's no creativity in this team besides Trent Alexander-Arnold, who personally I thought had a great game. The rest of them I thought were very poor, but overall I thought Trent and Alexander-Arnold had a very good game. Standout for me for Everton was Luca Digne. He's a fantastic left back, and yeah, Everton are very lucky to have someone of that quality. Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane, Jordan Pickford, all brilliant. Tom Davies, brilliant. Richarlison, brilliant. James Rodriguez, brilliant. They're a good bet to get into at least top seven. Top four potentially is on the cards. They're up there. They're still in the hunt for top four, and yeah, they're having a great year. Liverpool, on the other hand, absolutely atrocious. I don't know what's going wrong. I think the managers might have figured out the tactics, and with all these injury problems, it might have all piled up at the wrong time. This is the I think the board need to invest more. yeah, you can say, oh well, they've got them the league and the Champions League, but from there you build from there. And Klopp is quite clearly wants signings. He should no chance do I think he should be sacked, but ultimately, once you win stuff, you need to build. You need to absolutely build from these winning positions, and we've not done that at all. And overall, I think we need to seriously sort this out because it's a mess. But next game, I don't even know who's available for the next game, which is why I don't think people should be slating Klopp for not changing his tactics, because I don't see where on earth he's supposed to change it with all this lack of availability. What's he going to do? Bring out Firmino for Origi? Because personally, if it was up to me, I would do that right now, but I don't see how that's much of an upgrade. So yeah, it's poor at the moment, and we need to deal with it as it comes. And hopefully, Henderson's out now, luckily, but hopefully we can build from here, and this should be a great little building block for how we move on. And Keita's back, Jota's back in full training this week. Hopefully Fabinho could be back in the coming week or two. So maybe from there we maybe go back and set up a new different midfield. Get Fabinho in the midfield. I think he's a very good player in the centre back, but we need him in the midfield. I think Phillips and Kabak, even though Kabak is god awful. He's 20, he could come good, but at the moment he's not coming good. But we need to sort this out soon, or top 7 is at risk, let alone top 4. On to Fulham, Sheffield United, and I think Fulham are one of the most underrated teams in the league this season. They had that horrid start, and now they're only 3 points off of survival. Scott Parker's done a very good job to get them up, and I think Fulham are a better team than Newcastle, and personally think Fulham are going to stay up at this point. Ademola Lookman with the goal, absolutely outstanding player for Fulham. Great little loan signing, and he could keep him up at this rate. Areola and goal as well, phenomenal. Generally, the only issue I have with Fulham is their best players are their loan players. If they do stay up, what's going to happen next year? Are they going to get them all in permanently? Because is Alphonse Areola going to want to spend 2 years at Fulham with the quality that he's got? Is Ademola Lookman going to want to spend 2 years at Fulham with the quality he's got? So they're going to have to recruit properly next year if they do stay up, to try and stay up again. But they've played very well. Sheffield United, they're gone. There's no hope for them at this point, I don't think. They did put that little run together recently, but it was a little bit too late for them, wasn't it? That start was just horrendous, and it's a shame because Chris Wilder's done a fantastic job, but these kind of things happened. They were probably kind of papering over a lot of cracks last year with their form, whereas they probably weren't actually good enough to stay up quality-wise, and they put in a great run together. The tactics, the teamwork, it kept them up, and fair play to them for that. But I think this year it's a bit too much. On to West Ham, Tottenham, and I think Tottenham absolutely needed this win, and they've lost again. West Ham, though, all credit to them. David Moyes has set them up brilliantly. They're defensively so solid. The front players are so good at the moment. Thomas Souček in the middle, absolute warrior. Declan Rice. A lot of people don't rate Declan Rice, and I don't see why. I mean, last year I would have got it because his ball playing wasn't at the level. But this year his passing has improved so much. He's actually quite creative for West Ham. On top of that, as well as a good ball winner. And him and Souček in the middle are so good together. But obviously West Ham, they've played Antonio. What a job Moyes has done with him, because Antonio is not the most technically gifted player at all. He's probably not the best striker for a team in this position, but he's the best man that they've got in David Moyes' system, and I think that he is keep him up there while he's in this form. They hit Tottenham early as well. They knew Tottenham were sleeping, and Tottenham's defenders are just not good enough. They've got some brilliant attackers, but I do not think Jose Mourinho is the problem at all. I still think he's a top manager. I think the issue at Tottenham is the defenders are just not good enough. Eric Dyer is sleeping. Lloris is finished. Davinson Sanchez is god awful. And yeah, I think this is what's hindering them. Japhet Tanganga is a promising young player, but he had a poor game yesterday, I felt. And overall, it's got to be said that Tottenham are not going to finish in the top 7 at this point if they carry on, because then not good enough. But however, one positive for Tottenham is Gareth Bale came off the bench and was absolutely outstanding for him. He set up the goal. He's just driving forward. He finally looks like he's gathering up a bit of pace and some form, and he should probably start moving into the first team now. Dele Alli as well. It looks like Jose Mourinho started to bring him back into favour, so maybe he can break through and be a spark into a Tottenham revival. And yeah, Dele Alli, because obviously he's a very talented player who's not done it for the past few years. So maybe we can see the revival of him in the coming weeks. Then we've got Aston Villa and Leicester, who again are two similarly formed teams. Aston Villa have been remarkable this season considering where they were last year, and Leicester building on what they did last year, which was phenomenal, and they probably should have got top 4 in the end. But yeah, Leicester hit them early today. There was no Jack Grealish for Villa, so Leicester got them out of the way early, 2-0. Half time went 2-0. They did concede in the second half, but they saw out the game and 2-1 win. Solid job from Leicester, and Brendan Rodgers doing a brilliant job. If David Moyes is not manager this season, he'd be my bet for the next manager of the season. And strangely, Dean Smith is probably the third choice you'd have for manager of the season. So yeah, both of these managers done a brilliant job, but Brendan Rodgers got the better of Dean Smith today. Plus, Leicester probably got the better squad as well, so you should expect them to win this game. But there wasn't really too much today. It was James Maddison, Harvey Barnes, again, scoring goals. Both been brilliant this season. And next we have Arsenal, Manchester City. I thought Man City were going to absolutely steamroll Arsenal. And if I were an Arsenal fan, I think I would have rathered that than this. What happened in this game basically was Arsenal went down after 2 minutes from the most pathetic defending from Rob Holding, who is an awful defender and I've never rated. And I don't understand where on earth these calls from him to get into the England squad have come from, because he's not a good defender at all. He lets 5'7" Raheem Sterling beat him to a header. And the rest of this game were the Arsenal players playing with no guts at all, just going, let's just not get battered. We've already lost after 2 minutes, which is not what you do as a football team. Their heads went down and they absolutely caved in. And they went, let's just not get battered. And City let them do that, because City knew that Arsenal were not going to threaten them at all during the game if they did that. And now City are rested for their Champions League game because Arsenal were pathetic and didn't do anything. If I were an Arsenal fan, I would have been disgusted with this performance, because it just shows their players are a bunch of cowards. Lastly, we have Man United Newcastle. Overall, Man United were the better team and deserved their 3-1 win. First half, however, was a different story. Rashford obviously the fantastic little goal, but I thought overall Newcastle had the better of the first half slightly. 1-1 was probably quite fair. Maybe 2-1 Newcastle might have been a little bit fairer, but Man United were poor in that first half. But they both come through, and Man United in the second half, they turned up, and they've been doing this consistently this season. Not great first half, but consistently brilliant in the second half, and this is exactly why they're in second place. And they deserve their second place because they have been the second best team in the league this season. And Bruno Fernandes, again, absolutely outstanding player. What a signing. It hurts to say it, but it's true. I think they miss Paul Pogba, and I think in the future we will see issues with that, because Paul Pogba is a fantastic player, but if he's back soon, they will be fine and finish second or third at worst, easily. The last game of the weekend hasn't taken place yet. It's happening tonight. It's Brighton Crystal Palace. I'm going to go with prediction 1-0 Brighton, with Neil Moypay with the goal.
Well, if I could do a couple of things first. If I can do this, and say Black Lives Matter and say thank you to NHS. Mopo, you are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat. I hope Brighton get relegated.
Don't blame it on Mopay. Don't blame it on...
You're a cheat. You're a disgrace. I hope Brighton get relegated. Mopai is a cheat. Mopai is a cheat.
So now you're going to... No.
Mopai, you are a cheat. You are a cheat. And like I said again, Mopai, you're a cheat. Come to our dressing room and say what you said about our players. Come to our dressing room if you're brave enough. You cheat. Mopai, you're a cheat. And I hope Brighton get relegated.
See, this is the problem.
Thank you for anyone for watching. This is my first video, and I know it's probably not very good, but you got to start somewhere, and hopefully from here I can build on. And if anyone is watching and can send some feedback, please send it my way. Like if you did like, dislike if you didn't, comment if you want to comment, subscribe please. I've not got much. Yeah, please subscribe, and thank you.